What's up, guys? We are here with episode 3 of Calligraphy with Kat. And today we're going to talk about actual calligraphy, the whole thing, the whole vibe, you know. So
Yeah.
Kat's like my calligraphy intern. And we're going to, we talked about in the first episode how that all came about. But we're going to talk about what calligraphy is and all that fun stuff. But before we get to that, how's your Monday going so far, Kat? What do you got to tell us?
It's been good. It's been busy. I don't know. Monday's my favorite day of the week.
Yeah,
I feel like feel
is it?
most productive on Mondays. So it's been a good day. I have class today and just work. So how about you?
It's all right. Yeah, it's an interesting thing. Like, what's favorite day of the week? For me, probably for me. I guess it has to be Sunday because that's like my one day off. Like I don't. The thing is for me, like I don't like Monday is a non-issue, and because
Yeah.
I do what I like to do, and I haven't feared Mondays for like 10 years. But
Yeah.
when I have like a more normal job, it's like yeah,
Mhm.
But Monday is not really a big deal. It's meatless Monday, so that's fun.
That is a good one. Yeah. I feel like
Yeah,
you said, I kind of just embrace Monday. Like I'm
yeah.
not scared of it. I'm like, let's go. Like I'm ready. So
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly what we do with writing,
yes.
which is what we're gonna talk about. So okay, so it's funny because like I've been, I'll have an Instagram page for it. I have a bunch of clients. I'll talk about it here and there, but I've never had like a formal thing where I let people in and let them know exactly what calligraphy is all about. Like I'll show off my clients' work and I got a little video on my website, but I've never talked about it at length.
Yeah.
So I guess it's a question of like, where do we get started with this? Well, like basically, let me just say what calligraphy is and what the idea. First, let's talk about the word, because honestly, let me ask you this question: when you first saw this, right? I won't even pronounce it. Like, how did you think this is pronounced? Because people butcher it all the time. In my head, it's like a genius word, but people butcher it all the time.
I don't know. I feel like I kind of thought it was calligraphy just because I
Yeah,
kind of, you know what I mean?
yeah,
But I've actually had people ask me how to say it, which is funny. Like people who
yeah,
watched our other video was like, how do you say it? And I was like, oh, calligraphy, like the word.
yeah.
I don't know what do you usually hear people say?
Oh, I've heard calligraphy. All like
Okay,
that's the
yeah.
funniest one. I'm like, whoa,
That's funny.
what? Like, come on.
Yeah.
And so basically, let's just start with the word itself, and then we're gonna
Yeah.
go from there. Okay. So basically, what we have here is like kale is my favorite food. Essentially, I eat kale every day. It represents like the health nutrition side of things. Calligraphy, presumably that's creative writing. It represents the writing side of things. So all I do is I combine the words together, and then I paid someone to make this logo, which was my idea, by the way. And like, you see the pen. The pen is like a kale leaf with like, so like, I don't know. For me, this is like a brilliant idea. Anyway,
It's pretty good. It's honestly
yeah.
pretty good. I will give you that one.
Thank you. I appreciate
It
it.
makes good merch too, so I'll take
Yeah,
it.
no, I mean, I'm living this. I don't know about you, but I've been living in this.
People have seen us in like every video in this, so
Yeah, well, I mean, this is all I wear. Like, especially now for the next, like, what is it, January 24th? For the next, like, 4 or 5 months, I'll be wearing
oh
this, and
yeah.
then we'll see. The only problem is it's white, so it gets dirty easily. But
Coffee stains for sure
yeah, or
somewhere on
food
here.
stains, mud stains if I'm stupid enough to wear it to play soccer outside or whatever. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So that's a story for another day. Is my getting clothing dirty habits, but basically like let's start with like why like I came. So that was the name. That's where it came from. Really, like why I created it. It's not because I wanted to make like a writing coaching business where that was all I was gonna do. It was more so like I love writing. We were just talking about how I had that funny video from 4 or 5 years ago before I, even had any books or anything. But I was talking about writing the same way I do now. I think it's a lost art. I think it has so much potential to make you a better dietitian. And you and I spoke about this in the first vid, how it has helped you. And what article are you writing right now? Because I know you're writing a few. You got a few on the go. Or
Yeah,
which ones are you writing?
so I'm still working on artificial sweeteners and type 2
Yeah,
diabetes. That
that's
that one's
for
actually tricky. That one's a harder one, so it's
yeah.
kind of taking me like a little bit longer. You got to be like you're kind of treading muddy waters with that one, so I'm
Yeah.
a little bit like trying to
That's
figure
why
out the best
that's
way
why I
to.
had you do it.
Oh, great.
That's a
Throw
complicated
it to
one.
your intern.
Yeah,
Love
exactly.
that.
No,
So that
appreciate it
one's
though.
been a challenge, but still like a pretty good one. And I just wrote one about intuitive eating and how that can improve your relationship with food. So
That's
that
awesome.
was a really good one. And yeah, I'm trying to think. What are you writing right now?
What did I just drop? Well, I just dropped one on nutrition and sperm health, which was pretty cool. You know what I mean? That's an interesting topic. I'm actually writing one on intermittent fasting for a local newspaper, kind of giving my thoughts and like, balancing the science with the practical aspects and because the reality is there was like a survey done on dietitians, and dietitians voted for 2 years in a row that intermittent fasting is going to be more popular than keto, which makes sense. Because I mean, you don't have to, whatever someone's thoughts are about it, you don't have to like not eat half the foods that exist, right? So it's like more accessible. If someone was wanting to do a trend or something, it would be more accessible for them, right? So
yeah, I'm also writing one on post like surgery, like nutrition for
that's
post
cool.
surgery. So that's pretty cool. So
this is the great example. Like this is exactly the perfect example, guys, of like the places, like, and all the different things you can learn and different niches you can explore when it comes to writing. And like the first thing I ask people that I work with, like on, with calligraphy, is like, well, one of the questions I ask is if you could write a book tomorrow, if you got paid $1 million, what would the subject matter be? And I mean, I think I know the answer for you, so it'll probably be something on skin health.
That's a bad example.
Yeah. So that's easy because I know you, but generally that aligns with someone's niche for the most part, right? And I'll tell people to think of it, think of blogging as the chapters of your book. You know what I mean? Because for every broad niche, and this is one of the number one things I help my clients work with, and it's a very important skill, as you know yourself, is like figuring out what exactly to write about, like what's really worth your time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because you want to balance, like you want to not write something overly generic that someone can easily find anywhere, but then you don't want to write something overly complex that's not going to gather anyone's attention. And you can tell me about this. Like, I mean, as you write for more people, like, do you feel like you're getting better understanding how to like, to maneuver articles and kind of shape them into like a way that, people are more likely to like read and enjoy?
Yeah, well, I've gotten like pretty good feedback about articles, especially the formatting. And I think like following the format that you teach in calligraphy, like they really like how it's like, I think we did talk in the last video, like how you break it up and you know what I mean? Not have like big sections of words, and just like introducing some of like the pain points maybe of the client, like in the beginning, like things they might be struggling with and going through, and then kind of offering that solution to them is, I think, a really big part of writing. That's kind of what you're trying to do. So I feel like I kind of use that format going forward in that storytelling. And I think that helps a lot, on any subject. And the crazy thing is you can apply it to any article you write in a way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And like, and yeah, that's the other thing about it as well, is like, with my clients, and I know this to be the case because I see how they kind of continue, you're learning how I look at writing and how I try and structure articles. You're getting, and you're going to have those skills that you can carry forward and apply for yourself. Right. So whether that's how to title an article, obviously there's SEO involved with that, how to structure with subheadings. But again, even going back, so it's like the calligraphy process is like understanding, a client's area of passion, narrowing that down into chapters, AKA posts, and then figuring out how we're going to, because what I do with all my clients, because as you know, as I'm sure you can tell me about this, like if all you have is a topic and an idea without a structure or a format, it can be very overwhelming, So would you say like the idea of breaking articles down to subheadings is, like you mentioned it there, but like, would you say like it makes the writing process for you significantly easier?
I almost start every article with outline, and I literally go through the research and I take out the headings that have the art, and like I link the articles under the heading, and then it makes writing, like that takes, if anything, the longest part, and then it makes writing the articles so much easier because it's just so much more digestible when you're able to like break it down like that. So 100%, I agree with that.
Yeah, no, exactly. Because what I do is like, we'll have our first call. We'll figure out what the article is going to be about. We might figure out the title, because the title can drive the content. But then the most important thing is we have an outline, so that when you leave our first call together, you're just filling in the blanks. We've taken away all that sitting there and thinking what should be first, what should be second. I create a structure that you can basically fill in the blanks. So it's not so much that you're kind of paying me to review and edit your work. And by the way, that's part of it. Like once you make a draft, I do review, I do give you feedback on the strengths and weaknesses of your writing style, so that you can carry those lessons forward for subsequent articles and for yourself. But as much as possible, like I try and give people, let them make the changes themselves, understand why something needs to change or why something's good or bad. And then, so it's like you come up with the broader topic, you break it down to subtopics, you break those subtopics down into article outlines, you write the draft, I review, edit it, give you feedback. We meet again, we get on mutual ground on like, the areas for improvement. We repeat the process. And then on top of that, and this is something that like, all too well, it's like, then there's the promotional aspect. So I will, one of the big things I do is because, like, again, I do this because I love writing and I want people to, to tap into the benefits of writing. But one of the hardest things is people think that no one's going to read their work. Right.
Yeah.
And you,
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, tell me right now how good it feels like to be to share some of your work on Facebook and to get all those positive comments, to hear nice things from people. Like, it's pretty damn nice, right?
Oh yeah, it's an amazing feeling. Like I think we touched in our last video, like how thankful people are for these like free resources. They obviously share and save it to look at later and to reference later, which is amazing. And you know, the article's gonna be there, and so you have years to market it. And as
Right.
Andy knows, we're just saying that writing ages well. Like it's always gonna be there if you have good content. And so
You can always update it too. Like, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, I mean, I spruced up, like, you know, you recently reshared my, you know, and one, again, sharing my newsletter, my Instagram, like I'll push your writing really hard so that I don't want you to feel like you're going to write something that no one's going to read, like how I did back in the day. Like my philosophy back in the day was, you know, I might write 10 articles that no one's going to read, but if enough people read the 11th, they're going to be interested in my first one. Like, that's what I tell people as well.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's a good point.
And so that's very, very important to keep in mind. But I want to skip that. I want to skip that stage for you. I'll help you push out your work, share it to as many people as possible. And so you kind of get the whole process of writing, from coming up with the idea all the way down to promoting it, is basically what Kaleigraphy is about. And you can repeat that process as many times as you want. Like I have some clients who have done tons of rounds. Some people will just do once. And for me, that's fine, because it's not my, you know, it's not my primary business. It's just something I do, like, literally, I hate the word, but it's like my passion project, essentially, you know?
So what would you say is like two of the biggest areas like you help people improve, or like you see weaknesses in writing that you really like help with?
Probably, I call it storytelling. I find people, you could call it article flow. I find this is definitely a weakness that people have. It's like their articles, they don't tell, there's words, but they don't tell the story. They don't link the content together. They don't make it compelling enough. And for me, I think that's one of my strengths. And like, because writing is more than just, like, you need to be able to quickly and efficiently understand the state of the evidence and to transcribe it. That's fine. But you also need to transcribe it in a compelling way that goes beyond formatting. And so, like, very often storytelling and flow and transition sentences, like, that's a very, very big thing that I have to observe that people maybe, because a lot of people, when they're just getting into writing, they just want to they're just trying to tread water. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, they're not ready to, you know, submerge, or I don't know. I don't have a good joke for this or a good like example. They're not ready to like be a mermaid yet. You know, they're just like a little toad or turtle or something. So,
oh yeah. Okay.
you know, so that's the number one thing, is the storytelling aspect. But I think the number two thing, yeah, and that just translates into so much though. Like, there's little things like how to how to do the subheadings, like how to get creative with it. So it's not just like a one word thing, you know, it's like, it's that creative aspect, like above and beyond, because like, if you're working with me as a nutritionist or a dietitian, you're going to be a smart person. Like, you know, that's not the issue, you know? So yeah. I got to say that would be number one. And then after that, the list goes on. Probably the hardest part after that is the first part, which is understanding what to write about and like what makes sense to write about. You know what I mean? And I'm very good at digging deep with people and like really digging out their passions and like advising them like on which of their interest areas make for the best content. Because I've been doing this for so long. I know what people want to read. Like, you just know at a certain point what people want to read and what they don't. That's an excellent question though.
Well, yeah. Well, it's even interesting how I would have, even though I had a skincare company, like I never thought to write about skin health. And like, you were the one that was like, oh, why wouldn't you write about that? And I was like, oh, wait, it was like a light bulb went off. I was like, wait, you're right. So yeah, you definitely.
I don't remember doing that. That's great though. I'm glad.
Oh yeah. Well, with the eczema one, you were like, oh yeah, you should do this. And I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah. And look how good that content, I mean, that content is done. It's just like anything like that. That's just where there is a large number of people dealing with something. And there's just not a lot of people talking about like non-pharmaceutical strategy. And don't get me wrong, like a lot of conditions require pharmaceutical management, et cetera. But people, you know, nutrition and supplementation is like, you know, a relatively low risk and potentially high reward thing, right? So it's like, you know, when you write about that stuff, it's just awesome. And like, let's be real. I mean, we all like reels and like stuff like that, but you know, you can't, in terms of like the quality of the information, like you can't compare like writing a proper blog. And I like making silly reels. You can't compare, you know. Oh yeah. So it's just one of those things, but yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the calligraphy process. I mean, there's obviously a bit more to it, which I'll say for people who actually work with me, but like, if anyone, you know, I think for anyone out there who is kind of like interested in writing. They're not sure if they can really turn to something meaningful. I'm gonna I'll put the link in the description to me talking about writing 4 years ago with the same passion as now. And I hadn't really done that much at that time. Like now it's like I got like 9 books, I got 2 more coming. I got all these paid writing gigs. I have all these blog posts with all these views. Thanks a lot as well to Kat for her like, ingenuity with her sharing techniques and stuff like that. And hey, she might even be sharing some of your articles too to get more views.
I probably am.
Yeah, fingers crossed. But yeah, but I'll put that link in the description, and I'll put a few other links I have for like why I think people should write. But if it's something you're kind of inclined towards, or like in your heart, maybe you would love to write a book one day and you just don't know what's holding you back, I can help you break down those barriers. So yeah. But by the way, you have any other questions you want to ask about calligraphy, by the way? Any other superstar interviewer questions? If it's okay.
Okay. I feel like you got a pretty good thing. So if people are interested, should they just like message you? Is that how it works?
Just message me on the gram, email me. I guess I'll email, like, comment on YouTube. What's I just had a DM from a student today who wants to start blogging in April, and so yeah, we're gonna talk then. So doesn't happen. You don't have to.
Yeah. What would you say if like a student, like, would you say this is something for students that they should do? What is your opinion on that?
Honestly, it's whether you're a nutrition student or whether you are a seasoned dietitian, it doesn't really matter. I mean, the most important thing is that's something that you want to do, because writing is not like for fun and games. You know what I mean? It's like you if you want to do it, it's something that you should want to do and invest in the medium term at the very least. So as long as you're of that mind, if you're a nutrition student, I mean, all the better, because you have so much potential to grow and build based in a similar way that I did. Like, imagine if I started when I was a student instead of already in my career, you know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, the probably the calligraphy client was the most views on her work of anyone that I've worked with was a nutrition student who wrote a story on her internship experience and was like very like, vulnerable and emotional, like, open about it. I got 6,000 visits or views.
Oh wow,
which is like a lot. That's an incredible amount. Like, imagine if you got that on a YouTube video, and that was your first YouTube video or something. That's insane, right? So yeah.
Well, even how well a lot of I guess it's different because I'm on your website, but how well a lot of my work did as a student. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, you're the perfect example of like, it's never too early to start writing. I mean, look, don't get me wrong. Like, it helps to have some support, especially as a student, because, you are giving information to people. Like, you do need that sounding board. You need that oversight. And I can, be that, for like how I was that for you. And I can be that for anyone else who needs it. So, and
I mean, I would say as a student, you definitely help. Just maybe like it seems really overwhelming a little bit. And you are kind of treading these new waters where you don't want to make these like research mistakes or these like credibility mistakes, because like other dietitians and future clients are going to see. So I do think as a student, even more the reason to get a writing mentor, because they're really going to be able to kind of like hold your hand through it, which is actually for the better. If anything, I personally think like just having you there to read my work made me feel better about putting it out there, because I knew you wouldn't let me put it out there if it wasn't something that you believed in, who's been a dietitian for how long? 9 years, whatever.
Right.
So
no, I mean, and look at you now, right? Look at all the writing opportunities you have. Like, I mean, you'd be like the golden example of the potential of writing. You know what I mean? Like, my path was, it took me a lot longer because I didn't necessarily have, I guess like a mentor, whatever the case may be. And crap, I was going to say something else that was good and I totally forgot. But yeah, even what we discussed in the first video, just like helping you understand like what research is like acceptable to reference and the types of studies and how to do it. Like, even little details like that make a massive difference. You know what I mean? Because once you learn those skills, like, I'm very much about teaching you the skills so you can thrive. This is the same way I work with my clients. Like, I don't want you to sign up to like talk to me every day the rest of your life. Like, I want to give you the skills so you can go on and thrive without me. Now, look, I have some people who do talk to me forever because they love me, and that's fine. But it's all good. But you know what I mean, right? Like, that's what I'm trying to do. So yeah. But Kat, I mean, I appreciate you letting me just basically talk for like 90% of this video. And
moral support.
we got the calligraphy process out there. And yeah, I mean, more to come. I think next time we'll probably talk about skin health and we'll like really dig into it, because I mean, you got me into skin health. I love, like, I mean, I've really, like, a lot of my clients, like, I've sent them our blogs, or I've used, and here's the other thing that writing does for you guys. you know how many times like clients have unique issues that I've written about that maybe otherwise I wouldn't be sharp on? I can pull up during a meeting and be fully confident. I don't have to Google. And not be sure if some other website is giving me reliable information. I've already reviewed and assessed this information and I know it's good and I can confidently share with my clients. And that's just amazingly rewarding. And look, if this stuff sounds good to you guys, let's chat. All right.
Do it.
All right. All right. Until next time, as I always say in my blogs, you got to get your own like little tagline. You know what I mean? At the end, you know how I always do that. Until next time.
Oh yeah. Okay. You're right. Okay.
Yeah,
That's something I should work on.
By the next video, you need to have that.
All right. Okay. Drop ideas in the comments.
Yeah. If we get even one comment, I'll take it.
Yeah.
So at this point.
Me to my mom, please comment.
Please send this to your parents. Yes. Shout out to Andy. Woo.
Yeah.
He watches
Shout
this.
out Andy.
Yeah.
Which is funny.
That's Kat's dad.
That's my dad. Yeah. He's also Andy.
Yeah. My very good friend's girlfriend's dad's also named Andy. So there you go.
Oh, okay.
Shout out to Mike. If he's watching this, probably not, but all good.
Love that.
All right, guys. We'll leave it here. Kat, thanks again, and we'll catch you next time. All right.
Yep.
See ya.
Yeah.